Well, first, we would like to say that the RCMP regrets the terrible impact that this tragic event has had on the family and the friends of Robert Dziekanski, as well as the impact to the Polish community and really to all Canadians. This has been an incredibly tragic series of events, and we are committed to doing whatever is possible within this organization to make changes, to adapt our training, and to change our operations to ensure that a situation like this cannot happen again.
What will you do? You said you're going to adapt your training to make sure this situation doesn't happen again. What are you doing?
The RCMP has already made a number of improvements to our TASER or CEW policies, our training, our practices, and even our reporting requirements. And these changes have been made over the past year and a half, maybe 2 years in total. And many of the changes that have already been made are reflected in the report that was released today.
Sergeant Shields, let me go over some of the things that Paul Kennedy had to say. One of the things he said, which was interesting, perhaps you could comment on this, he said he gave his report to the RCMP and Public Safety Commissioner 8 weeks ago, and the Commissioner preferred, quote, that I not release my report. How do you respond to that?
Well, it has not been the practice in the past for the Commission for Public Complaints Against the RCMP to release to the public its interim reports. There is federal legislation which is called the RCMP Act, and it stipulates the rules of engagement regarding these types of reports. And the RCMP Act provides that the Commissioner's notice to the Commission for Public Complaints will be considered in the preparation of any final public report. And the Commissioner of the RCMP is on record by saying that he believes that the normal process and sequence of events that are set out in the RCMP Act should have been followed with this interim CPC report.
He also went on to say police inappropriately met alone prior to giving statements. Those statements were not credible. In fact, he said officers' notes on the situation were sparse in the extreme and didn't jive with what was on the video. Do you agree with that finding?
We aren't going to be commenting today on the actual individual findings. We have to keep in mind that we're still awaiting the final report from the Braidwood inquiry. And when we receive that report, we will be making a public submission to both the final Braidwood inquiry report as well as this CPC report that was released today. But until we get both reports, we're not going to be commenting on specific findings today.
But essentially, he's accusing the force of either, the four officers in question, of either lying or incompetence. I mean, those are the only two choices. Surely you must respond to that.
Well, in watching Chairman Kennedy, he did not say that the four members were lying. In fact, he was asked that question by a reporter, and he said, no, I'm not saying that. But I just have to repeat that we aren't going to be specifically commenting on the individual recommendations and findings in this report today. We've got this second report from the Braidwood inquiry that is going to cover the same material, and we will be responding to both reports once that second report comes out.
All right, Sergeant Tim Shields, thank you for joining us today with your reaction to this from the RCMP.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. Still ahead.